Season 4 continued. The Second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, 1966 to 1969. The Power of the Daleks. All 6 episodes missing. 8 out of 10. A colony on the planet Vulcan, yes, you heard me right, are trying to create robot servants out of machines that have crash landed on their planet, not realising that they are in fact the deadly Daleks. Obviously the Doctor is more than a little concerned and goes to explore what's going on. It's a real shame that so little of this serial is left, especially as the first 10 minutes or so see a very important precedent being set, the idea of regeneration. The renewal, as it's called here, of the Doctor from one form to another ensured the survival of the show. In other words, the show was no longer dependent on the length of time the actor wanted to play the role anymore. Other important elements of regeneration are explored here also, such as the important link the TARDIS plays in the Doctor's safety, apart from the obvious use as transport, and this first episode would be a must-see for any fan of the show if it could be found. Of course, this very difficult transition from Doctor 1 to Doctor 2 would never have worked out had the actor who took over from the excellent William Hartnell not been able to play it with enough of a difference to make it interesting, whilst retaining the basics of the character to keep the consistency needed. Patrick Troughton, who Hartnell apparently suggested as his replacement, manages this admirably, remaining both eccentric and alien enough to keep a lot of what made the first Doctor so special, but also showing new assets to the Doctor's character, including a much more action-orientated physicality and a shrewd use of bluffing his enemies by pretending to know a lot less than he really does. Anyway, on to the serial itself. Usually a Doctor's first story takes second place to his regeneration, making sure the focus is on the change of actor rather than necessarily on the inclusion of a difficult or taxing narrative. Robot from Tom Baker's first story is a good example of this. It's a fun serial, but not overly complicated. One of my favourite things about most regeneration episodes is the disorientation and confusion it creates in the Doctor, who takes time to settle into his new persona. This can cause many sides of the character to be explored, whether confusion or strange behaviour, like here where the Doctor makes little sense and reaches for his recorder, or a complete breakdown in his usual self, leading to a dangerous, even psychotic consequence, as in the Peter Davison-Colin Baker transformation. Conversely though, Troughton's debut is a strong plot featuring the Doctor's most famous enemies. Perhaps this first regeneration was seen as a risky option, so the writers weren't going to take any risks by focusing heavily on the Doctor's change as the main draw. All in all, this is probably the most important of the missing serials, so it's a real shame not to be able to see it in its original broadcast condition. Whilst the serial is fairly slow to get going, it picks up nicely towards the middle episodes with some great creepy scenes. The end of episode 4, for example, where the Daleks begin to multiply to an eerie score and deafening multiple strained voices, must have been particularly effective and terrifying to viewers at the time. This is a good opening story for the Second Doctor, and an exciting new era for the show is started.